Hi guys, this is Jude from 𝐒𝐄𝑃. In this tutorial, I'll be demonstrating 5 different ways you can bypass the Microsoft account requirement and complete a Windows 11 installation and setup. With the earlier Windows 11 builds, this was only an issue in Windows 11 Home Edition. However, with the recent builds, this has become a general issue with both the Home and Pro editions, leaving the Enterprise Edition as the only exception. Now, there are several benefits of using a Microsoft account when setting up your Windows. Benefits like content synchronization across devices, enhanced security, better integration with Microsoft Cloud services such as OneDrive and Office, easier access to Microsoft Store, and so on. However, there are situations where you still need to set up with just a local account. For instance, if you are installing Windows for customers, or you want to give away your PC, or you just don't have a Microsoft account, then the solutions in this video could come in handy to enable you bypass this sign-in process entirely and use a local account instead. Now, as for which of the 5 methods would work for you, that will depend on the Windows 11 build you are trying to install. Obviously, Microsoft has been patching up these builds and updates to override these bypasses, but hopefully the 5th approach remains effective for the long haul. And if there would be other approaches in the future, I will add those to the video description. And now, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first method is to simply turn off your internet connection. Yes, as simple as that may sound, that could be all you need to do to bypass the Microsoft account sign-in step and create a local account instead. Now, the success of this method, just like other methods, will depend on the version or build number of the Windows installation file, as well as the edition of Windows you are installing. With earlier versions prior to version 22H2, this requirement for Microsoft account was mainly restricted to Windows 11 Home Edition. However, with version 22H2 and later versions, it has become a general requirement for both Home and Pro editions. In addition, you are also required to have an internet connection to be able to set up a new device. So if you have your installation media with earlier versions such as 22H1 or 21H2, then you can try to turn off your internet connection and see if that allows you to skip the sign-in step. Now, I recommend switching off your internet even before you start installation, especially if you are using a LAN connection. This is because once the installation establishes a connection to the Microsoft servers, then it becomes much more difficult to skip this sign-in step. If you are using a LAN connection, you simply need to unplug the LAN cable, but if you are on a Wi-Fi connection, then just proceed without connecting to any Wi-Fi access point. And if for some reason you don't see the option to do so, or if this just doesn't work for you, then you can proceed with the next method. The second method is to first connect to a Wi-Fi access point or LAN and then disable the internet connection before you hit the next button. So here, where it tries to force you to connect to a network, just connect to your home network either through LAN, Wi-Fi, or even your phone hotspot. The requirement here is that you should be able to turn off your internet connection on whatever access point you choose to use. So first connect to the access point, then reach out to the internet source on the access point and either disconnect or turn it off. For home router, you can just unplug it from the wall. For a hotspot, you can turn off your mobile data and then come back to the setup and hit next. Now your setup will try to connect to the Microsoft servers to check for updates and then get to the login screen. But because you don't have internet access on your device, it won't be able to do so, and eventually it will revert back to using a local account setup. Now, if you are using this approach, you will need to wait a while for this check-in for updates because it assumes you might be having a temporal disconnection. However, after several attempts, it won't be able to do so, and eventually it will revert back to using a local account setup. Again, if this doesn't work for you, you can proceed with the next method. The third method would be to use the OOBE command to bypass this requirement. OOBE is short for out-of-box experience, and what this command does in this case is to simply provide you the option to continue without an internet connection, hence allowing a local account setup. To do that, while on this screen, press the keyboard combination Shift plus F10 to open up your command prompt. For some PCs, you might need to combine this with a function key. The idea is to open your command prompt interface. Here in the command prompt terminal, type in the command OOBE // bypass NRO as written on the screen and hit enter. Now that should cause a reboot. And then take you through this stage where you choose your country or region and then choose your keyboard layout, and then it should return you back to this page. And below you now have this I don't have internet option. Click on that and then click on continue with limited setup, and that should now take you to this page where you can create your local account and proceed with the setup process. Now Microsoft, in a bid to also patch up this bypass, has disabled the Shift plus F10 function on their recent versions. Hence, you may not see the command line terminal show up when you press the Shift plus F10 keys. If this happens in your case, then you can either try method 2 or proceed with the next method. The fourth method is to use a generic email address for the Microsoft account. Here we'll be using an email address that Microsoft considers too generic and therefore not acceptable as a way to bypass the Microsoft account creation or sign-in process. There are several of such email addresses. For instance, we have this a@a.com and no@thankyou.com. To use this approach, you need to first connect to the internet. Then here select sign in. In the email field, enter any of these generic email addresses. Here I will use this no@thankyou.com. In the password field, type in any password of your choice and hit continue. Now after some time, Windows will display, oops, something went wrong. And then you can click next. It will then open up a screen that allows you to create a local account. You can do that with or without a password and proceed with the remaining parts of the setup. Now, if for some reason that doesn't work for you, you can proceed to the next method. The last method for this tutorial, which is highly reliable, will be to use Rufus to pre-configure your installation media to exempt the Microsoft account login process during setup. Rufus, as you might already know, is a free tool for creating installation media, be it Windows, Linux, or any other installation media. It is a very reliable tool at that. For this method, the guys at Rufus have added an option to their more recent versions, I think beginning with version 3.19, to enable you bypass both the Windows 11 requirements and the Microsoft account sign-in steps. I'll leave a link to download Rufus down in the video description. That link should take you to this page. Here, simply click on the latest version to download it. Now, if for some reason the latest version at the time you are watching this video doesn't have this feature anymore, then you can click on the other versions link to take you to a page where you can download older versions. There you should find this version 3.22 or version 3.19 and download it. After downloading, simply click to run. You should see an interface like this pop up. Here you can choose to either use an existing ISO file, which you must have downloaded already on your computer, or download an ISO file directly from Rufus. Sometimes you might not see this option to download, which is usually under the drop down on the select button. If that is the case in your situation, simply click on this settings icon below. On the check for updates, use the drop down to select daily. Then under the include beta versions, use the drop down to select yes. Close the pop-up and also close Rufus. Now relaunch Rufus. And you should have this drop down that allows you to choose the download option. After choosing that, click on download. That should pop up a window like this. Here select the version of Windows. I will choose Windows 11. Then hit continue. And after some time, it will ask you to select the release. Here I will choose the latest release and hit continue. And then it asks for the edition. Here it only has these 3 editions together. I will hit continue. Then select language, hit continue. The architecture is automatically x64. You can choose to download using your browser. I will just let it download here on Rufus. So I will hit download. It asks for where I want to save the ISO. I will leave mine on the desktop. And then that should immediately start the download process. Now remember, you don't have to do all this if you already have your ISO file downloaded. You can simply use the select button to select your ISO file and then proceed with the rest of the steps. So with the ISO file now downloaded, first I will select the device I want to use for the installation media. Then use the select button to select the ISO file from the location where I saved it. Leave image option as standard Windows installation. The partition scheme I will set to MBR, and the target system is automatically BIOS UEFI. I will leave all the other options as default and hit start. Now that will pop up this dialog box, which gives you various options to customize your Windows installation. The first option is to remove these generic Windows 11 requirements. That's the RAM, secure boot, and TPM 2.0 requirement. Then the next option is to remove the requirement for an online Microsoft account, which is our target. Now these two options come checked by default. If yours are not checked for any reason, you should check them to ensure you have seamless installation process. You can then look at the other options to see if they apply to your use case. If not, hit OK to begin the media creation process. You then get this warning that all the data on the device will be destroyed. I'm okay with that, so I will hit OK, and that will continue the process. Now you just need to wait for the process to complete. When that is done, you should have this page saying ready, and then you can use your installation media to install Windows on any PC without having to sign in with a Microsoft account. And that is it for this tutorial. I hope one of these helps you out. If you have any questions or comments, please share with us in the comment section. Also, let me know which of these methods worked for you, and if you come across some other method that works, please share with us in the comment section as well. Like this video if you found it useful. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification for updates on future tech support videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.